Now the next subtopic is electric field lines. Electric field lines. What are these electric field lines? The electric field lines are the imaginary lines upon which the tangent drawn at any point will give the direction of field at that point. Let us go in a detailed way. Suppose there is a charge q. It has produced the field. Now, this is called the source charge that has produced the field. Now, into the field of this charge q, a test charge is introduced. Now, this experiences the force. Here, this force between them is a two-step process. First, the source charge will produce the field. This is the first step. Second step is this field contains field lines. These field lines will fall upon this charge q naught, producing attraction or repulsion. So in this way, that one charge experiences the force due to the other. So once again I repeat. So the force between two charges is a two-step process. One, first a source charge produces the field around it. This field contains field lines. When this field lines falls upon the test charge, this test charge will experience the force of attraction or repulsion. So that means this source charge that is producing the field consists of field lines. What are these field lines? That means the field lines due to this one will fall upon this charge like this, produce the attraction or repulsion. We will discuss about these field lines in detail. First one, the electric field lines are those imaginary lines where the tangent drawn at any point on the line gives the direction of field at that point. For example, if I draw field lines for a positive charge and a negative charge, I am drawing the field lines like this. So these field lines are represented like this. If I put a point over here, the tangent drawn at this point will give the direction of the field at that point. That means the field lines are the imaginary lines, basically start from positive charge and end on negative charge, where the tangent drawn at any point gives the direction of field at that point. Now, let us draw the field lines for different types of charges. An isolated positive charge, that is, for an isolated positive charge, the field lines are always drawn away from it, like this. For a positive charge, the field lines are drawn away from like this. For a negative charge, an isolated negative charge, the field lines are into the charge, like this. And for a positive and a negative charge, the field lines are drawn from positive to negative charge, like this. So if I want to find out the direction of the field at a given point, so I'll put a point and I'll write the direction of the field at that point like this. So from this we can understand that the field lines are imaginary lines drawn from positive charge to negative charge, where the tangent drawn at any point gives the direction of the field at that point. So what are the properties of these field lines? The first property is field lines will never intersect. For example, if two field lines are intersecting, suppose let these two field lines are intersecting like this, at the point of intersection we can write two tangents like this. So which is not possible. The direction of the field can be only in one direction at a point on the field line. So therefore we can simply say the field lines will never intersect. The second one is the field lines start on positive charge and end on negative charge. That is, they are not closed loops. They cannot travel from my negative charge to positive charge. These are unlike magnetic lines of force. So therefore we can simply say the field lines are not closed loops. The third one is they exert lateral pressure and longitudinal tension, because there will be attractions and repulsions between the charges depending upon their polarities. So therefore we simply say there will be longitudinal tension and lateral pressure between the two lines. These are some of the properties of the field lines. And also we can say if the field lines are parallel to each other and are equally spaced, such a field is called uniform electric field. If the field lines are large in quantity at a given point, it is said that the field is maximum at that point. The field is large at that point. So for example, if I write for a positive charge, the field lines would be like this. The strength of the field, if I consider 2 points A and B, the strength of the field at this point is greater than the strength of the field at a point B, which is far away from the charge. That is, wherever the field lines are close to each other, produces a strength, a maximum strength. Okay, na? So this is where we can simply say that, so the more number of field lines at a given point, the large is the field. The less number of field lines, the less amount of the field. So this is a way we can explain that about the electric field lines. And also the last one about the field lines, if the field lines are non-uniform, that is, the field lines are like this. If the field lines are like this, so the field is said to be a non-uniform electric field. A non-uniform electric field. So this is about the field lines. Let a charge Q and of mass m is placed in a uniform electric field. Uniform electric field. Now this is the field. This is the direction of the field. This is E bar. Let a charge Q is placed whose mass is m. Now this charge experiences a force due to this field, which is given by F bar is equal to Q into E bar. Now if Q is positive, F bar is parallel to E bar. If Q is negative, F bar is anti-parallel to minus E bar. That is, the force on a negative charge is in the opposite direction of the field. Let us see, suppose if you take negative, if the force will be in this direction, if this is positive, this will be in this direction. What is the acceleration of this charge placed in the uniform electric field? Now, the force experienced by it is E into Q. If I take magnitude wise, F is equal to EQ. The acceleration of the charged particle is F is equal to ma, E into Q. Because this is the only force acting on the particle of mass m. Therefore, the acceleration of the charged particle is EQ by m. EQ by m. Now, let us see one more application of electric field. Suppose let a charged particle of charge Q and mass m and mass m is placed in a uniform vertical electric field. That is, suppose there is a field like this which is uniform and a charged particle is placed like this. For the particle to be at rest, then the number of electrons or the number of protons present in this charged body is. Let us see how to write it. So Q, this is the force experienced by it, EQ, if it is taken as positive charge. Okay, so EQ will balance the weight for the charge to be in equilibrium. EQ is equal to mg, then E into the number of charges into charge of each one is E is equal to mg. The number of charges present on the body will be mg by E. So this is a way that we can speak out that the number of charges present on the charged body, so that it will be in equilibrium in a uniform vertical electric field. This continuous charge distributions are basically of three types. Linear charge distribution known as linear charge density, surface charge distribution known as surface density, so volume charge distribution known as volume charge density. The first one is linear charge density. Linear charge density. What is this linear charge density? Consider a wire. Let this is positively charged. Now, suppose if you consider a small length dl, it is uniformly charged. Let the charge of this element is dq. The linear charge density for a wire can be defined as the charge per unit length. The linear charge density of a wire can be defined as the charge per unit length. Since it is uniformly distributed, dq by dl. It can also be written as for a small element of length dl, let the charge upon it is dq, then the linear charge density of uniformly charged wire can be written as lambda is equal to dq by dl. What is the total charge present upon this wire? So total charge can be calculated as dq is equal to lambda into dl. So total charge can be given by integrating on both sides. So integral of dq is equal to integral of lambda into dl. If it is uniformly distributed, then lambda will taken out of integration and we will write it. What is the length? Integral of dl is L, integral of dq is q. We can simply get it. If the distribution is not uniform, then how this linear charge density is varying, that we will write accordingly and we will integrate it from particular lengths, particular limits. Okay. So from that you can find out the total charge present upon the body. Now, next one is surface charge density. What is this surface charge density? Surface charge density, suppose if I take a small disk, so upon this I am taking a positive charge. Okay, like let the total charge present on it is q and the area is a. Okay, now the surface charge density of a two-dimensional body can be defined as the charge per unit area. So the surface charge density is represented as sigma. The surface charge density of a two-dimensional body can be basically defined as the total charge present per unit area. If suppose, if I take a small element in this, whose distance is r, radius, and dr thickness, then the total charge present on it can be written as, this small element is dq. So for the small element I can write it as sigma is equal to dq by dA. So for a small element of area dA, the charge present on it is dq. Then the surface charge density for the small element can be written as sigma is equal to dq by dA, charge per unit area. Now the total charge present on the disk can be written as dq is equal to sigma into dA. We will integrate it on both sides to get the total charge present on the charged disk. We will see one more, the last one, the volume charge density. Volume charge density. What is this volume charge density? Consider a body like solid sphere. It is charged, or a solid cylinder. You can consider anything. This is a solid sphere. Okay. This is a charged solid sphere. Now the volume charge density of the solid sphere can be defined as rho. Rho represents volume charge density. The volume charge density of a solid sphere can be defined as the charge per unit volume. The charge per unit volume. Rho is equal to Q by V. Q by V. Now for a small volume, if I take a small volume, if I take a small shell at a distance r whose thickness is dr, then I can write the surface charge density for the small element as rho is equal to small element's charge is dq, small element's volume is dv. So dq by dv will give the charge density of the small elemental sphere. So rho is equal to dq is equal to rho into dv. Integrating on both sides, integral of dq is equal to integral of rho dv. So integral of rho dv will give the total charge present on the solid sphere. Now if the charge density is constant, you can bring out. If it is variable, keep inside the integration and integrate it with the limits, so that you can get the total charge present on the sphere. So these are the three types of charge densities that we have. We will see the units also. So lambda is charge per unit length, which is coulomb per meter. Surface charge density is charge per unit area, which is coulomb per meter square. This is charge per unit volume, which is coulomb per meter cubed. So in this way we can define the units also. So that's it with our three charge densities. Let us see electric field due to some uniform charge distributions. First one is electric field due to a uniformly charged ring. Now we are going to discuss with electric field due to a uniformly charged ring. Let us take a ring like this. Let this is positively charged. It's very comfortable. So when we go with a positively charged body, draw an axis for it. Now let the radius of the ring is r, let the charge upon it is q. Then what is the electric field due to this charged ring upon the axis at a distance x from its center? At a distance x from its center. let it be at a point P. Now, in order to find out the electric field due to this charged ring, first we will find out the electric field due to a small charged element, and then we will integrate it for the entire ring at that point. Let us see. Consider a small charged part of the ring, dq. Now the electric field due to this dq at this distance is away from it. This is, the electric field is d, this is the direction of the electric field. Now, what is this electric field due to this small element? dE is k dq by, what is this distance? Root of r square plus x square, which is root of r square plus x square. So I'll write r square plus x square whole square. So I can write the electric field due to the small element is k dq by r square plus x square. Okay. Now the components of this field along the axis is dx. Now the component of this one along the plane of the ring is dy. Okay, along y axis you can say dy. So now we will see what the electric field along the axis. Dx is equal to de cos theta. I will calculate the total field integrating on both sides. Integrating on both sides. So integral of dEx is equal to integral of dE cos theta. So what is this? This I am taking as theta. Okay, this I have already written theta. dEx is dE cos theta, dy is dE sin theta. So in this way I have written this is theta, means this will be theta, alternate opposite angles. Now I have taken dEx as dE cos theta. So dEx, integral of dEx is equal to integral of dE cos theta. So integral of dEx will give total x component of the electric field. What is this x component of the electric field? So integral of dE. dE is k dq by r square plus x square. What is cos theta? Cos theta is adjacent side by hypotenuse. So x by root of r square plus x square. Therefore x by root of r square plus x square. So therefore Ex is equal to, so all are constants at a particular distance x due to a ring of charged ring of radius r. So all are constants. So k x by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2 into dq. So integral of dq is q. So the total charge present on the ring, all the elements are added up to give a ring. So k integral of dq is q into x by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is the electric field due to a ring along the axis of the ring. If we calculate the dy component, so you will get 0. So ey component you will get 0 on calculation. Okay, please do remember this is the x component of the electric field and this is the y component of the electric field. On calculation the y component will become equal to 0. Now what is the maximum electric field upon the axis of the ring, and also what is the electric field at the center of the ring? If you see, put x is equal to 0, you will get electric field at the center of ring. So electric field at the center will be equal to 0 because it is directly proportional to x. So electric field would be 0. Now what is the maximum electric field? So here electric field is a function of distance. Electric field is a function of distance for maximum electric field on the axis d by dx is equal to 0. dE by dx is equal to 0. If you differentiate it, you will get the value. So value of x at which the maximum electric field may exist. If you calculate it, we will get on calculation at x is equal to r by root 2, will that electric field is maximum. If you substitute this value x is equal to r by root 2 in this equation, you will get the maximum electric field. Okay, let us see the maximum electric field. If you substitute the value of x is equal to r by root 2, you will get the maximum value of electric field. The maximum value of electric field on x-axis will be kq into r by root 2 by r square plus r by root 2 whole square whole power 3 by 2. So if you manipulate the terms and conditions here, so you will get the value of maximum electric field. If you draw a graph for that, so E on y-axis and distance on x-axis, electric field at the center is equal to 0. From here at a distance x is equal to r by root 2, the electric field would be maximum, and from here again it will decrease. So in the same way, for a ring on this side at x is equal to r by root 2, field would be maximum, and similarly on this side also at x is equal to r by root 2, field will be maximum. So that can be written as like this. So this is a maximum electric field like this. So this is a graph drawn for electric field due to a ring that varies with the distance.